everyone, welcome back to Mamta Nival tutorial. And guys, in this video we're going to start a new chapter number 4, and the name of the chapter is heat and the class is the 7th class. So let's start. What is hot and what is cold? So can you even compare them? What is hot? Like we mostly see, or we can say that the tea is hot and the ice is cold. How we can say that? How can we define that hot thing and the cold thing? How we can say that, decide whether the thing is hotter or a thing is a cold? Okay, with the help of touch, if we touching that object, we can feel that it is hot. If we feel it hot, if we feel it cold, that means that object is cold. So what we are saying, that because of our senses, we can say that a object is hot or cold. Like, can we always rely on our senses to say that if we are having a very hot thing, so can we touch that thing and then we will say that this is a hot object? No, we should not rely always on our senses. Sometime our senses may get puzzles. Like, we are taking an example. There are 3 beakers. Okay, this is the beaker 1, this is the beaker 2, and this is the third beaker, which is C. All having the water of same quantity water, but their temperature are different. Like in A we are putting the hot water, in B we are putting cold water, and in C we are putting both hot plus cold water. That means it is a lukewarm water. It is not very much high in hot as well as not very cool temperature. Okay, that's the mixture. Now we can put your hand, you will put your hand, one hand, like a right hand, in the hot beaker. Okay, the beaker which contain the hot water, you will put your right hand into it and your left hand into the beaker which contain cold water, and make sure the water should not be very hot that you can burn your hand. No, it should be that much you can handle with your skin. Okay, so that the make sure this, before doing all these activity, you should be more cautious. Okay, so this is the right hand and this is the left hand. You have put the left hand into the cold water. Now take out the water. After the 2 to 3 minutes, take out both your hands and put both your hands into this beaker number 3rd. Okay, what do you feel in the right hand? In the right hand, which is initially it is present in the hot water, so you will feel cold into it. That means you will feel that this water is cold. And in the left hand, which you have initially put them into the cold, you will feel it hot. Why it is so? So is that a same container containing both cold as well as hot water? No, the water is lukewarm. The senses should tell us, like both our hands should tell us that this is a lukewarm water. But no, our senses get puzzles, because according to that the hotness, the previous or the initial stage, when it is putting in a hot area, that is too hot, and according to comparison of that hot, it is little cold. And if we are talking about the cold temperature which we have put the left hand into, as we compare to here, it is little warm. That's why we have a mixed feeling of it. Okay, so we cannot always rely on our senses to sense what object is hot or a cold. So because to be more reliable, we need to measure it with the help of thermometer. So thermometer is a device which help us to measure the temperature of an object without require any senses. Now, how we can measure the temperature with the help of thermometer? We have 2 type of thermometer. One is the clinical thermometer and other is the laboratory thermometer. Okay, we'll talk about it one by one. First is, we are talking about the thermometer which is clinical thermometer. How it look like? It look like this. This is the narrow uniform glass tube. Okay, this is the uniform glass tube, and here is the area where the mercury is present. So here there is mercury, and due to the level of the mercury we can figure it out that how much temperature it is, and there is the measurement scale. Okay, the scale is present on the glass, and this is the bulb area. Okay, so this is what a normally clinical thermometer look like. The range of the clinical thermometer is 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. 35 to 42 degrees Celsius, this is the range of the clinical thermometer. Okay, why we require only this much of range? Because normally what we require, these thermometer, clinical thermometer, we require for the human body temperature, to measure the temperature of human body, and the human body normally cannot go down the 35 degrees Celsius and cannot go up to 42 degrees Celsius. So this range will be enough for to measure the temperature of a human being. Okay, and always one thing also keep in mind, like always the clinical thermometer is Celsius scale. Okay, it always measure in the Celsius. So this is the Celsius scale. We never use Kelvin scale for to measure the clinical or to measure our body temperature. Okay, there should be some precautions you should keep so that you can measure proper or clear amount of the temperature, measure proper amount of temperature. We should put some care into that thermometer. Okay, like we should wash the thermometer before as well as after using that thermometer. Okay, we should wash it with an antiseptic solution. Okay, this is first step. What else? We should not first of all we should ensure that before using that mercury, before using that thermometer, the mercury level should be below 35 degree Celsius. Okay, so this is the second precautions. What else? While reading the thermometer, we should keep our level of the mercury along with the sight of our line. Okay, so the line of sight should be very common to the reading. So our eye should be placed here, and the measure while you are measuring the reading on the thermometer. Okay, so it should be on the same line of sight. You cannot like put our eyes anywhere and from there you are measuring the temperature. It may vary because of you are not putting it in the same line. So the line of sight should be same to the mercury line. Okay, now you should handle it with care, because the body part is made up of glass, and if you hit any this portion to any hard object, then this can break, and that mercury will came out of it, and that will very dangerous for us, because mercury is a toxic component for our body. Okay, what else we can say? That don't ever hold the temperature thermometer with that bulb. Okay, that bulb portion, we do not hold it from here, bulb portion, to measure the temperature, because this is the temperature which this is the area which gain the temperature. Okay, so they will take the temperature from your hand and it will increase the level into the measuring scale. So can we say that we can even measure a hot milk? Okay, we have a hot milk in a beaker. Can we measure that temperature also with a clinical thermometer? No, we cannot. With the help of clinical thermometer, we only can measure the temperature of a human body. Okay, so for measuring these kind of very hot kind of a substance, we require another type of thermometer, which is the laboratory thermometer. What are these thermometer? These thermometer we use in the laboratory case, not in the clinical conditions. Okay, so the range of the laboratory thermometer is 10 degrees Celsius, minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is the normal range for the laboratory thermometer. Normally we should require some precautions for to measure the right or measure the correct temperature of an object. We should keep some precaution for laboratory thermometer also, like we should keep the thermometer upright. Okay, the thermometer should be kept upright. It should not be tilted. Okay, what else, like the bulb should be surrounded from all the side of this substance. Okay, the substance should be surrounded from all the side of that bulb, so that will give you a exact measurement of the temperature. What else, we should not keep the thermometer to the surface of the beaker. We do not touch that thermometer to the surface of any container. So the touching, you should avoid the touching also to get the exact reading of the temperature. Okay, but there is a one problem with it. All these are the precautions, but there is a one problem in that whenever if you take out the thermometer out of that water, the water which you are measuring the temperature, what you feel that inside it is showing that 100 degrees Celsius, and when you take it out you will see that it is 98 degrees Celsius. Why the temperature is dropping? Because in the laboratory thermometer there is no kink into it. Okay, and because of lack of this kink, we need to measure the temperature while we have put that into that beaker. Okay, so if you need to find out the temperature of this material, you should keep that thermometer inside it, and here only you need to measure the temperature, what is the exact temperature. If you take it out, the thermometer outside, and then you measure it will show you a different reading. Okay, so what is the kink? Like if we talk about the clinical thermometer, so this is the shape of the clinical thermometer. Here there is a kink, there is this kind of a structure which is known as the kink, and this kink will prevent the mercury to drop back. Okay, so if you have measured your temperature, like 100-degree temperature you have, so now what you can see that after taking out from your mouth, still you can see that this is the same reading because of this kink, because the kink is present in the clinical thermometer. So for the clinical thermometer we can use it outside our body also. We can take the reading when we take it out of our body, but for the laboratory thermometer we require to take the reading when the thermometer is inside that substance. Okay, but what is the major problem into it is the mercury. The mercury in the clinical as well as in the laboratory thermometer, the mercury is the major problem. It is a toxic substance, and if by chance with mistake if we fall that thermometer, so that thermometer will break, and that will the mercury will came out of it, and which is very toxic for us, which can be very harmful. So the dispose of the mercury is very much crucial. So instead of these typical type of thermometer, nowadays we use the digital thermometer, which do not have any mercury into it, and we do not require that much of precautions to measure it or take reading of it. Okay, now how the transfer of heat take place, like if we take an example, this is a brick. Okay, we take some two bricks, this is a brick and this is the another brick, and we put a rod between these bricks so that the rod will stand like they will stand here. Okay, now here we are putting a candle, and the candle is burning, and we have put some wax on that area, on that the rod which we have taken. This is the iron rod, this is the candle, and this is the wax. Okay, and these are the bricks for to provide the support to the rod, okay, iron rod. Now what we are doing, we are providing heat to the one end of the iron with the help of this candle. What happen, the heat will transfer through the iron and it will reach to the wax drop, and here the wax will start dropping off, okay, the wax will start melting and that wax will be here. Now what happened, another the heat will transfer to the other wax and now this wax also start melting and drop out. Now the same situation will go on forever, okay. So this transfer of heat, okay, we can say that the process by which heat is transferred from a hotter end to a colder end, this is the process in an object is known as the conduction, okay. So this is what conduction. Normally iron rod is conducting what it is conducting, it conducting the heat so that it travel from the hotter region, this is the hotter portion and this is the colder portion, so they are reaching, and that process is known as the conduction. And the object or the material which allow heat to pass through it is known as the conductors. So these are the conductor. What are the example of conductor? These are like aluminium or iron or copper. These are the example of conductors, okay. The materials which do not allow to heat to pass through it, okay, it do not allow it to pass through it, what these are known as, these are known as the poor conductor, as well as we can say that the insulator, okay. The other name of the poor conductor is the insulator. So what are the insulator? The object or material which do not allow heat to pass through it. For example, like plastic is a poor conductor, as well as the wood is also a poor conductor of heat, okay. What else? We can also say that the water as well as air is a very bad conductor of heat, but still we can say that air is also get hot and water is also get hot. How it is possible? It is possible through the convection mode, through the convection process, okay. What is convection? Let's explain this process. This is a flask, okay. Take a flask, put some water into it. This is the water we have, keep it here, okay. And here is a stand, this is a stand on which we have keep some burner on it, and these burner are on. Now what happened, the water which is just below that burner is become hot first. This will become hot and this will become cold, this will remain cold, okay, for some time. So why it is getting hot? Because the water is heated near the flame, because it is present near the flame, and the water will rises up, okay. The cold water from the sides will move toward this area, the cold water will move toward this area, and the hot water will move toward the colder one. So the hot water which get rises, that will move toward the cold area, cold water, and the cold water will take place of the hot water. So this is how this movement of water will keep on going till the time all the water will not get hot, okay. The same process will be continued till the whole water get heated up, okay. And this process is known as the convection process. So this is the convection, the transfer of heat is known as the convection. Normally it is not only in water, convection is not present only in water, we can see it in the air also. Like if we take an example of a candle, this is a candle, and here there are some air present above that candle and on the side of that candle. What you can feel, like here if you put your hand, you will feel more hotness, and if you put your hand on the side of that candle, you do not feel that much hot air. Why? because of that convection, because this is the area in which the convection is doing. What is the convection? That means the hot air is getting raised and it will replaced by the cool air, and so on. It keep moving all these things, like hot air will become raised and that will take place of the cool air, and cool air again take the place of the hot air. So this is what the function is happening, and that's why it is very cold, very hot in here. But if we same feel our hand from the side of that candle, we do not feel that much hot because there is no convection here. Okay, so this is kind of a thing which is not only present in the laboratory. In natural cases we can also see, like in the coastal areas. In coastal areas we see some kind of this kind of things, like sea breeze. Okay, the air which is coming from the sea, like in the during daytime, this is the ocean or sea area, and this is the land area. Okay, so during the daytime what happened, this is the daytime condition, there is sun here, so the land will get heated up first. Okay, so because of that heatness, the air which is present above that land, they become more hot and they rise up, and that raised up hot air will take place the area of that cold. Okay, that cold area, so it will move toward the cold one, because there will be a vacuum. You can see that there will be a vacuum, because all the air of here will get raised up here. Okay, all the air will go here. So to complete that circuit, or to complete that cycle, the cold air has to be take place here, has to take that place of the hot air. Okay, so the cold air will transfer or move toward the land area, and the land will again what it do, it will make it hot and it will go up, and because of going up, that hot air will take place of the cold one, and cold will take place of the hot area. That's why what we feel some air or the breeze of the ocean on the land in the daytime. Okay, so the water or the cold, we can say that the wind is coming from the ocean area. Like if we talk about in the night area, the night time. Okay, what happened in the night time, the our land will do not our land will get cold early, and our ocean will not. Like what we are saying, that water cool down more slowly as compared to the land. So the cool area or the cool air from the land, the cool area will go to take the place of the hot area or hot air of the oceans, and the hot air will take place of the cool air of the land. So this is why we are feeling that most of the air will go toward the ocean. So at night time what we will feel that the cool air is going from the land toward to the oceans. Okay, so this is exactly reverse as we compare it to the daytime. Okay, so in the daytime what happening, the cool air is going in this direction and the hot air is taking in this direction. In the night time what happened, hot air is going in this direction and cool air is going in this direction, and they are completing their whole complete cycle. So this is what normally we see convection in our natural days, or we can say that in our natural surrounding. Now how we can feel the heat of the sun, how the heat of the sun come to us? It come to us with the help of the radiation. Okay, in the form of radiation, and radiation do not require any medium to travel. So that's why the sun, the rays of the sun with that radiation do not require any medium, and they can travel in the space also. Okay, so with that radiation we will feel that hotness. Like if we have a hot utensil, if you keep that utensil at a place, keep that utensil kept away from the flames or cool down, so what you see that the transfer of heat take place. Like this is the utensil which is hot, and now after removing it from the flame, you keep it here. After some time you will feel that this beaker will become cool. How it is become cool? Because it transfer it heat in the surrounding area. Okay, and what is this surrounding, from in which process it is going? It will go by the process which is known as the radiation. Through the radiation it will transfer from the utensil to the surrounding area. Okay, all hot bodies radiate heat. Okay, we all know that all hot bodies radiate heat, but when the heat fall on that object, this some of the heat is get reflected and some of the heat get absorbed. So from which we feel the heatness, we feel heat because of the which we absorb the heat. Okay, which we absorb the radiation, and the reflected portion, the area which we are reflecting the heat or reflecting the radiation, that area, that place, we will feel that it is not that much hot. Okay, so similarly when we make some houses also, so to make or construct a house which do not affect much by the heat or cold of the surrounding, what we require, that we need some construct some building which have some layer between the outer, this is the outer layer and this is the inner layer of the house, and there is some space left between them, and these space, what happen, there will be trap of air. So air will trap in here, and this air will not allow the warmness of the house, inside house, to go outside, and not the coldness of the house, outside temperature will get inside. So this will provide us a insulation between the hot weather or cold weather which is outside and inside. It depend on the month or the season in which we are sitting. Okay, so nowadays what is new thing is happening, like there are some brick which is hollow bricks. So they are in the construction, we can use the hollow bricks. And what is a hollow bricks? It has the air, and that air will protect the heat, the transfer of heat to the surroundings. So it will keep our house cold in the summer season and hot in the winter season. Okay, or what else, we also prefer some different kind of clothes during the season. Like in the summer seasons, what we use light clothes. The color should be very light. Why we require light color? Because light color reflect most of the radiations. Okay, and the dark color absorb most of the radiation. That's why we wear dark color clothes in the winter season, because at that time we require some heatness to absorb by our body, or we require the warmth to maintain in the surrounding temperature. Okay, so this is all guys. I hope you have understand all these concept. If you have any problem, if you do not understand any topic, let me know in the comment box. And thank you guys for watching this video. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe my channel. And thank you guys for watching this video.